What's good, Commanders fans? So training camp day 11, I want to say. I will be back in my house, back in the man cave pretty soon. They're just doing renovations in my house, so they're putting the flooring down and whatnot. They're doing the finishing touches to the basement. So just giving you guys an update on that. But they signed tight end Eli Wolf, and they signed a safety named Stephen Parker. Now they did release Jaquez Ezzard, a guy that I liked. They waived him with the injury designation. Who knows? Maybe they could bring him back to the roster. Who knows? Maybe they could bring him back to the practice squad later on when the season starts. Cole Kelly, they released him. Not surprised. I heard he was throwing a bunch of interceptions in practice from what I've heard and what I've seen from beat reporters. And then they released Bryce Notrin, the linebacker, and then they released a guard. I can't remember what his name is, but those were the transactions that they made over the weekend, other than signing the linebacker from the Eagles. I'm blanking on his name right now. I don't know why, but yeah, and a lot of people, I've seen the feedback, some of the comments already. A lot of people are not happy with the linebacker signing, but hey, it is what it is. They weren't aggressive on getting Anthony Barr. The Cowboys got him. That was a name that they could have got. AJ Klein is still out there. John Keim also said that John Bostic is a name to watch. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for either AJ Klein or John Bostic if we sign another linebacker. So they released a linebacker. We don't have a lot of depth there. And then Drew White being injured and the Trey Walker retiring, unretiring. We don't have a lot of depth at that linebacker spot. But they don't look at the linebacker spot like we do. They are more intrigued with, the Buffalo nickel spot. That's what they're really thinking about. Could they bring back Landon Collins? I don't see that happening, to be honest. So that's my thoughts on the signing of the linebacker. Now, just some news and notes on Eli Wolf, the tight end. Is he going to make the roster? Who knows? Most likely not. I mean, he's bounced around on practice squads. He went to Georgia. He actually ran a 4.43 40, so that's really fast for a tight end that's 245 pounds. He was on the Ravens practice squad. He was on the Colts practice squad for a little bit in 2021. So he's probably on the practice squad at the same time Carson Wentz was the quarterback. And then he was on the Packers practice. He was signed by the Packers and they waived him on July 22nd. So they signed him on May 12th and then they waived him on July 22nd. So basically he's just bounced around and just kind of been like a guy, like a practice squad guy for the most part there. So we know we have a lot of injuries. John Bates was back. So looking at his college numbers for Eli Wolf, he didn't light it up in college, but he was solid. He made a big third down catch for Georgia against Florida one game. 13 catches, 194 yards, 1 touchdown. Then the year before that, 5 catches for 30 yards and 1 touchdown. But he looks like a solid blocking, and watching some of his films, some of his highlights for sure. Stephen Parker is a guy who could make an impact some way if he can make the roster. 2019 was his best year. He played for the Dolphins, the Cowboys, and the Giants. So he's been around the NFC East. But in 2019, he was legitimately a contributor for the Miami Dolphins. You look at his numbers, he only allowed an 81.2 passer rating. That's really good. That's really impressive. And then only a 53% completion percentage allowed in coverage. That's really good, too. He played in 14 games and started 4 games. And a missed tackle rate of 13%, which is, okay for a corner. And he had 2 interceptions that year. So he had a couple of takeaways in 14 games. So this guy, he's done something in his career. Eli Wolf hasn't even played a snap or a down of football, but this guy, Stephen Parker, has actually played in games. And, PFF, he had a 63.5 PFF grade, which is okay, which is average. He had 3 pass breakups too, but they played 30% of Miami's defensive snaps. But I don't know if he's going to make the roster, but he's a guy that has experience and can contribute as well. He had 1 week where he had a 90 PFF grade in week 14 against the Jets. So he's contributed and done some things. So Stephen Parker, we'll see what he can do. And then in preseason for the Rams, he had a 90.4 defensive grade in 1 game. So we'll see what this guy can do. But all right, let's get to the play-by-play tweets there today. John Bates is back at practice per Zach Selby. Zach Selby talks about Jarrett Patterson going through one-on-one drills. All the running backs look good at the open practice. Like Jarrett Patterson looked good. John Williams looked good. Brian Robinson was the most impressive out of all of them. Brian Robinson might have had the best night, in my opinion. Every time Brian Robinson touched the ball, he made something happen. He seriously did. Like he runs tough, man. He is a tough nose runner. Seriously, he's gonna get a lot of carries this year. Seriously, but Jarrett Patterson, we'll see if he makes the practice squad. I think he will make the practice squad for sure. He was great in preseason last year, so we'll see if he can do that again. Zach Selby says Carson Wentz just got done with 7-on-7, 2 pass breakups. Danny Johnson and Kendall Fuller both targeting Terry McLaurin, 2 catches, 1 to Terry, and 1 deep pass to Dax Milne. Pedro said, Pedro Smith was there. That's my guy. He said Dax Milne just caught a bomb from Carson Wentz. Dax Milne has had a very good camp. So Dax Milne, you know, he's on the cusp. He's on the bubble. Before training camp started, I picked Dax Milne to have that 6th wide receiver spot. Dax Milne, a lot of people are saying he's been very impressive, man. He's had a really good camp. So, and he's a returner too. So all the jokes aside about him and Zach Wilson, can he really contribute and make this roster and play? You know, he does have solid hands, I would say, for the most part, but I didn't like that fumble last year. And, you know, John Cobb said he's gotten stronger. He's bulked up, you know, and his route running has looked more precise this training camp. So I'm intrigued to see him in preseason. It's between him, Alex Erickson, now Jaquez Ezzard is apparently out of the picture as a punt returner or a kick returner. So that makes more room for Dax Milne there, and McGowan's still on the roster. So between Dax, it's really Dax versus Alex Erickson right now, McGowan right now for that and Mark and Michelle as well. I don't want to forget about Mark and Michelle. Mark and Michelle had a really nice catch. I caught that on camera too at the open practice. So Dax Milne, we'll see, man. We'll see if he can make this roster. Preseason, it's going to be huge. I can't wait for Saturday against the Panthers. I can't wait. Dax Milne, he's got to show out. Him, Alex Erickson, and Mark and Michelle, they're going to be battling for that 6th spot. Dex Selby also says, Armani Rogers, who had a nice catch during the FedEx practice, has had a couple more today. With tight end depth being thin, he's a player who has made the most of the snaps. Yeah, that was a nice catch that he did make on the sideline. That was really nice. I did see that. That was a nice catch. And with the tight ends being in flux, John Bates being in and out of the lineup this training camp, or finally being back, Logan Thomas, we don't know when he's going to be, exactly when he's going to be back. Excuse me, voice crack there. Exactly when he's going to be back. And Cole Turner on the side field today. Cole Turner was on the side field as well. So we just don't know. It's a lot of moving pieces with that tight end position there. Pedro said Carson Wentz and Jahan Dotson, their connection is strong. Back-to-back catches for Jahan. So you already know how Jahan does, man. He's playing really well. I can't wait to see him. If he plays in preseason, I can't wait to see him on Saturday. I can't wait. Ben Static says no William Jackson today in practice. 3 in a row that he's missed today, I believe. We'll see if he plays on Saturday. Jack Selby says Carson Wentz in his second round of 7-on-7s completed all 3 passes, 2 to Jahan Dotson and 1 to Jaden McKissick. So Jaden McKissick playing well as always. Ethan Cadell says Carson Wentz has put together a few nice throws during 7-on-7s, hit Terry McLaurin over the middle on what would have been a first down. A few plays later, Wentz hits on a 15-yardage completion to Jahan Dotson on the outside. Zach Selby says Alex Arma somehow pulled in a pass from Sam Howell through Parker's hands. The new addition to the secondary has been around the ball a lot. So that's good to hear from Stephen Parker. Alex Arma, the fullback, I was happy when we signed him last year because we were running the ball a lot. I was like, yeah, we're just going to run the ball even more. So I'm intrigued to see if Alex Arma makes the roster, if they actually use him, if we actually use a fullback this season. So Ben Sanders says the tight end room is battling injuries, so young guys getting more reps. And Armani Rogers is definitely taking advantage today. 3 receptions, 2 of an acrobatic nature for the former college quarterback. So that's good to hear from Armani Rogers, still learning the position for sure. Especially with Sammy Reyes, you know, he was sidelined today as well. So Armani Rogers is making some plays here. Ethan Cutter says Sam Howell's arm talent on display during 7-on-7s. Completed a bullet pass to Alex Arma in a tight window. Then hit on a nice touch pass, 20-ish yards to Armani Rogers. He closed the session with a dart to Dax Milne, 15-ish yards over the middle. So Dax Milne making noise here. Sam Howell sighting too. He looked good in the practice for the most part. He did throw an interception to DeJuan Neal though. I'm intrigued to see Sam Howell on in a real preseason game on Saturday just to see how he is. They cut Cole Kelly. So does that mean they believe in Sam Howell more, or just that Cole Kelly's just not that guy at all anyway? Zach Selby says Jamin Davis is addressing the media. He said Cam Crow's communication has jumped to a second level. So they do want Cam Crow to be a vocal leader more this year. And Ron Rivera has definitely gave a glowing review of Cameron Crow and his leadership this year. Cameron Crow had a good practice as well, breaking up some passes here and there. Ben Status says Curtis Samuel practice today. As for tomorrow, Ron Rivera says we'll chill him out a little bit. He'll work on the side, continue with his conditioning, continue with his rehab, continue the plan with the goal of knowing that he's got to be ready for the opener, end quote. So that's that on Curtis Samuel. I have nothing negative to say about Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel, he did look good in the practice. He had a nice touchdown, and then they threw a screen pass, and he scampered up the field for like 10, 15 yards. So that's the thing. He really is the X factor. I say this all the time. If he plays, he really can really take this offense up to another level. That's just, I mean, we really need this guy out there. We really do. Matt Paris also says David Mayo continues to take snaps ahead of Jamin Davis in some of the defense's bigger packages. And to no one's surprise, Fedarian Mathis has taken the Ioannidis role, extra lineman when the Commanders go with 5 guys. And a quick note, James Smith-Williams is back practicing. So, yeah, I think that's about it for everything. I think that's all the guys that were out. I want to say Sadiq Charles did practice today. He didn't practice in the open practice, so that was one of the guys that was out. Shaka Tony didn't practice in the open practice as well. So that's about it, guys. All right, you guys. Hail to the Commanders. Peace.